How you doing, YouTube family? Today is Wednesday, June the 4th, 2025. It's your man Big D, and I am back with another one. I want to thank all you good folk out there in YouTube land for continuing to show support to my son and I. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Well, family, I'm back with another video. And in this one, we are going to be watching Stephen A giving his thoughts on 50 Cent telling Trump not to pardon Diddy. So let's go down this rabbit hole and check this one out.
Welcome back. Now let's get to the latest on Sean Diddy Combs' federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial. A former assistant testifying under the pseudonym Mia was back on the stand facing cross-examination for Combs' defense team. Meanwhile, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson spoke out this weekend about the trial and any potential pardon Combs could receive from President Trump. 50 went to social media following these comments from President Trump last Friday when asked about Diddy and the trial. Take a listen, please.
Back when you hosted The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of that relationship busted up. From what I read, I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So I can't. It's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated. Whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Now, here's what 50 posted on Instagram this weekend after those comments. Quote, Donald doesn't take well to disrespect and doesn't forget who chooses to go against him. While working tirelessly to make America great again, there is no room for distraction. He would consider pardoning anyone who was being mistreated, not Diddy. Combs said some really bad things about Trump. It's not okay. I'm going to reach out so he knows how I feel about this guy, end quote. First of all, let me say this, because I love me some 50 Cent. I love what he's doing. I love what he's doing on Stars, Power, you know, the sequels, Power Book Ghost, which is my favorite, Power Book Force with Joseph Sikora, plays Tommy Egan. I love that. I love Raising Canaan. You saw what I had, you know, you saw I had the star Patina Miller's on the show. She's phenomenal. I love that show. I love everything that 50 Cent is doing. Even though I'm sure he's going to still make some music or whatever, but I just think he's phenomenal. I think he's phenomenal as executive producer. I think he's an incredible talent, and I think he is the kind of person you do not want against you, because this brother will troll you forever. I mean, he will hit you where it hurts. Ain't no doubt about that. And he clearly has no love for Diddy. My whole point is Trump's willingness to pardon Diddy, potentially, whatever 50 Cent feels, it shouldn't be based on whether Trump, what Diddy has said about Trump. It should be based on whether Trump thinks the charges against him are excessive, the crime that he's being accused of, if he were to be committed of those federal crimes, how valid they are, and whether or not that time served comes into consideration. That clearly is not going to be the case. I mean, if it's one of those situations where President Trump ended up pardoning P. Diddy. P. Diddy's on trial now. He hasn't been convicted yet. He's been in jail for a few months. But with some of the things that he's been accused of, sex trafficking and racketeering, as the government continues to make its case, we got to hear what the defense has to say in response to those allegations, those charges, those assertions that the prosecution has made against him. Ultimately, if you want to look at him right now, clearly he's an individual that nobody wants to have anything to do with. When you consider the video and how it revealed how he was physically abusing his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, when you hear the assistant give her testimony, when you hear the things that folks have alluded to, when you hear about the details about what he coaxed Cassie Ventura into doing, these are very heinous, disgusting things, to say the least. I'm not going to even go into detail. They're heinous and disgusting. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, why are you thinking about pardoning him before he's even been convicted? Let him get convicted, and if he gets convicted, let him spend some time in jail, and then after that, if you want to consider pardoning him, your decision should be based on that, not on whether or not he has said nasty things about the president. So, and 50 Cent, I would just like to know from 50 Cent specifically what the beef is with Diddy, whatever that may be. I don't know. I don't follow it like that. He does not like this man. He feels whatever it is that he feels about Diddy. This is not my lane, ladies and gentlemen. I don't follow the hip hop. I like my music. I like listening to hip hop, but I don't follow the storylines that come associated. I know nothing of the history between 50 Cent and Diddy. But Diddy has me wanting to find out. 50 Cent has me wanting to find out what that history is. Because most people would just not say anything. You understand? If Trump says what he says, all right, no matter what their feelings are, they ain't going to get involved. 50 Cent don't give a damn. He don't give a damn. He literally is saying he's going to reach out to Trump to remind Trump of the things that P. Diddy has said about him, for the sole express purposes of making sure that Trump doesn't pardon Diddy in the event that Diddy gets convicted of sex trafficking and racketeering. That's what 50 Cent is sworn to do. And I got to admit to you, that's wild. Damn, you got an enemy there when the man want to go out of his way to contact the president, and clearly he has some kind of inroads where he can get to President Trump so President Trump can hear him. He's basically saying, yo, brother need to go down. Brother need to go down and stay down. That's what he's saying. So if Diddy didn't have enough problems, having 50 Cent on your ass is a problem. That's a problem. That's the only thing I can peel from it at this moment in time. I would love for 50 Cent to tell us what exactly is his disgust with Diddy, other than the disgust we all feel from the videos we already saw. It would be real interesting to see that. I'm just saying.
Well, family, what you think about that one? That was deep. My man 50 Cent, Curtis James Jackson III, best known by his stage name 50 Cent, American rapper, actor, entrepreneur, investor, record, film, and television producer. Now, that's what you call black excellence. 50 came from a different world and he chose to take a different path. Now, somebody like that, for a young black man to look up to and say, man, you know what? This man went from a stage of life where he progressed. He didn't stay involved with the BS. From what I know and from what I see, I don't, what I'm saying? I've not heard anything negative ever. Anybody ever say anything negative about 50, being any type of craziness with the law. So, but again, I don't follow that, hip hop and all that like that. I like the music, but I don't really follow the people. But, on the surface of it, you know, I don't, I agree with Stephen A. I would like to know what transpired between old old Sean Combs and old Fitty. But family, that's the way it is, like Stephen A said, man, you have to be careful who you piss off. And while you on top, you gotta be careful who you spit on, because as quick as you rose, you can fall, and the people that you were spitting on and shitting on, now they on top. Now they can make phone calls. And it seems like that's what the case is in this situation. Seems like 50 on top now, and he got direct access to the president. And you know, if he got the president ear, he can make suggestions. But I agree with Stephen A. You know, it shouldn't be about a popularity contest. It should be based on the facts and the evidence. Did this, did he get a fair trial? Did the government present their case? You know, it should be based on that if you're gonna give him a pardon. Like Stephen A said, let him spend some time in prison, but you got to give him credit for the time he's already served. So, but I agree, yeah, man, for the things that he's accused of, man, it's kind of crazy. But I still feel like there's a little bit more to this story, to this whole story, just all, these men that have all this, money and accolades, they caught up in some just weird shit, man. And you have to ask yourself, is this a learned behavior? Were you born like this? Did somebody teach you this? I would venture to say it's more to this story than what meets the eye. Well, family, always remember, be more tomorrow than what you were yesterday.